Okay, we are live on Facebook. Okay, good afternoon. My name is Emily Wajir with Louisiana State Bar Association, and welcome to our Law Talks virtual workshop series. Today's Law Talk is Public Benefits and SSI. We have attorney Megan Snyder with Southeast Louisiana Legal Services presenting on this important topic. Next slide, please. Before we get started, I need to go over a few important reminders. First, this presentation is being live streamed. Questions will be taken at the end if time permits and answered live. If you're watching at a library, you may walk up to the computer to ask your questions or submit your questions to the library staff. If you're watching via Zoom, please use the Q&A section. And if you're watching via Facebook, please submit questions in the comment section. Please remember that all comments are public and visible during and after the presentation. Finally, please keep your questions general and not case specific. The attorney can provide information about the law and legal processes, but cannot give advice on individual cases. Next slide, please. Please note that the information provided in this presentation does not and is not intended to constitute legal advice. Instead, all information, content, and materials are for general informational purposes only. No viewer of this video should act or refrain from acting based on information provided in this presentation without first seeking legal advice from counsel in the relevant jurisdiction. If you need assistance finding legal help in Louisiana, please go to Louisiana Civil Legal Navigator. The link is listed here. The LSVA's inclusion of the program is not to be deemed a statement or endorsement of the views expressed therein by the LSVA or any member of the LSVA. Speakers on LSVA programs are carefully selected for their knowledge, but neither the LSVA nor the speaker warrant that the presentations or materials were free of errors or will continue to be accurate. Statements in this presentation and their materials should be verified before relying on them. Opinions expressed are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect opinions of the LSVA, its sections, or committees. Views expressed are those of the authors and contributors only. Okay, and with that, I will turn it over to our wonderful presenter today, Ms. Megan Snyder with SLLS.
Thanks, Emily. I am Megan Snyder. I'm an attorney with Southeast Louisiana Legal Services. I am the manager of the Veterans and Innovative Projects Unit. We serve veterans and those who are low income and at risk of homelessness, primarily in the public benefits sector. So I'm going to talk first briefly just about Southeast Louisiana Legal Services, to let you know a little bit about who we are and what we do. We're a nonprofit. We don't charge fees for our services. We work on civil legal needs. So this is to be distinguished from criminal. We don't work on any criminal matters. We purely provide civil services. We also don't work on fee generating cases. That could be something like personal injury or medical malpractice. Those aren't case types that we take. We also try to prioritize emergency legal needs that help secure someone's housing or income and make them more stable in their lives. We do operate under various grants, and we do have income restrictions. That is a picture of our building. We have offices in New Orleans and other locations, which I'll review in just a moment. But first, I wanted to talk about what are the different types of civil legal aid that we provide. This is not an exhaustive or necessarily comprehensive list, but it just gives you an idea of the types of cases that we take for income eligible clients. We have a family law unit. So we work on things like divorce and custody and domestic violence and protective orders. We have a unit that works on preserving home ownership. We also have a unit that works on defending against evictions for renters. Our unit and others work on public benefits, including ones that we'll go over today. We also have an employment unit that works on unemployment benefits and things of that nature. We have a low income tax clinic and work on wills and successions and consumer matters. And we also do some child in need of care work. So we really serve a lot of different legal needs in the community. And so if you or someone you know needs legal services and are low income, I will share our contact information at the end so that you can reach out to us and get in touch about intake and potential representation. These are the 22 southeastern parishes that Southeast Louisiana Legal Services, we represent people from these parishes. So like I said, we have the New Orleans office, but we also have coverage of these 22 parishes and other offices throughout the region, including Jefferson, and you can see there East Baton Rouge. So if you are watching this and you're elsewhere in the state, in those 22 parishes, we would be, in the service area for those. Our sister organization, Acadiana Legal Services, covers the other parishes in the state. I also wanted to highlight that our unit at SLLS runs medical legal partnerships at our local veterans, VAs. So there's a VA here in New Orleans, of course, and then we have outreach presence at the Slidell VA, Hammond, and both of the Baton Rouge clinics. And we are there every week, and I've put just a highlight of our schedule on there. We take walk-ins, but you're welcome to make an appointment or just contact us regularly if you're interested in services. So with that, I'll turn to the presentation today. So public benefits are vast, and I'm not going to get into detail about everything. I wanted to just give an overview of some of the main ones that we work on in our office, but essentially they're to provide income support or health coverage or help with food costs to those who are low income, those who have disabilities, who are older, or have other qualifying circumstances. We will review that each program has its own eligibility rules. There are different financial limits. There's a different application process potentially. So just be aware of that. And again, I'm not going to get down into detail about everything. I'm going to give an overview. And as Emily said at the outset, this is really intended as general legal information for everybody here, certainly not legal advice. And then, I can't give advice on particulars. So the first program that I'll go over is Supplemental Security Income, which is known as SSI. And this is a program that provides a monthly benefit for those who are older, who are 65 plus, who are blind or disabled, and have very limited income and resources. And this is regardless of work history. So that person wouldn't have had to pay into the system in order to receive this benefit. It's really needs-based. And so there is a maximum monthly benefit for an individual of $967 and for $1,450 for an eligible couple. Because it's needs-based, there are resource limits, which is $2,000 for individuals and $3,000 for couples. To that end, it is really important that if somebody's receiving that they report all of their income, any other income or resource, so that they don't get an overpayment. And then there is a distinction, which is helpful for those who are quote unquote old age or 65 plus. At that stage, proof of disability is not required. You still do have to be financially eligible though. So just be aware of that. Social Security Disability Insurance is another program that people often seek our help with. This is SSDI, and it's similar to SSI, but it has some differences. So this is also a monthly benefit. This is for people who have a disability that prevents them from working. And these folks have also worked enough during their working years to have earned credits to be eligible to receive this insurance program. So they must meet Social Security's definition of a disability, and that's going to be that it's a disability that is lasting at least 12 months or is going to result in death, and that they're unable to engage in a substantial gainful activity. That's the work level that the person is unable to do because of their disability. Some have enough work credits and some don't. That's something that folks can learn if they go onto ssa.gov and create an account. I recommend that everybody do that because it can give you an understanding of where you are in your earning of your work credits if you've been working. You can earn up to 4 credits a year, and that is a particular amount for each credit, and that changes every year. So this year it's $1,810 per work credit. So if you went on to socialsecurity.gov and you created an account and you are almost to your 40 work credits, but you're not quite there, you might see where it would be within reach for you to maybe work a couple of more to get a couple more months or years to get those credits and meet the insurance requirement. So to apply, we'll go over that in a moment, but you'll need documentation of work history and when you claim that your disability made it unable for you to work. Social Security retirement is something else that comes up frequently. Usually folks need 40 credits, and that again is based on the credits they've earned during their work life. They must be at least age 62 to claim early retirement, which is going to be a reduced benefit. The longer you wait for to take retirement, the higher the monthly amount will be until full retirement age. It is 67 for most people, but it depends on when you were born, and there is a chart on the website to instruct what your full retirement date would be. That's something else that could be available to you if you log into your account. So they calculate your monthly benefit based on the average earnings. And if you go ahead and take retirement early and work above a certain limit, your benefits might be reduced, but you can work after your full retirement without that limitation. So just again, this is very generally speaking, but applying for SSDI, SSI retirement, you can start an application by going online to the website or by calling. That's the national number. We do have local field offices throughout the state, and they may require an appointment. Sometimes that requirement is changing. The local New Orleans office is listed there. You're going to need to be able to prove your identity and your disability if that's applicable. You're going to have information on your income and resources. Now, I've tried to include in the slides just some general information about the applicability of the shutdown to these different programs. Of course, this is an evolving situation. This is, not to replace any breaking news or publications by the agency that would, have better and more current information, but just to give folks an idea of kind of where we're at. So it is the case that SSI and SSDI are continuing even during the shutdown because it's a different funding source. However, because of staffing shortages and furloughs in the federal government, there are things that are impacted, even if not the benefit itself. So if someone has a new application, an appeal, request for reconsideration, those types of things could be delayed with processing times because of the shutdown and the staffing. So from what we looked at, direct deposit and the payments should still be on schedule, and Medicare premiums withheld should still be intact. But we always recommend shutdown or no shutdown, that if you're applying, keep a record of everything that you submit and when you submitted it. There are online applications, but that's generally just, you can start the application. Excuse me. You can start the application online, but a lot of them require that you follow up with a paper application. The New Orleans and Baton Rouge offices are open, but there's limited hours. And again, with new applications or anything like that, there could be a slowing, and that would be something that we could expect. We'll switch over to Medicaid now, which is a state federal health insurance program for low income, those who are pregnant, low income women, low-income people, children, pregnant women, elderly, and disabled individuals. It also is used to support long-term care and home and community waivers. There are a lot of categories for Medicaid, so we're really not going to get into all of that, but there is, going to be income limits and resource limits, and then there'll be medical need for many of the categories. Excuse me. So generally, the income is going to align with SSI benefits rates. But like I said, there's various different programs, and so some of the income limits are higher. For long-term Medicaid, which is for those who are in nursing homes, the income limits are higher, but there is a $2,000 asset limit for an individual. There's also rules about spending down, or there's medical needy programs if someone's income is over the limit, but they still have high medical expenses. And then there's, of course, certain assets can be exempt. There can also be something to consider, like a look back period for disposal of assets. So just be aware there's a lot of intricate rules about Medicaid and qualification. And so those are going to be very, very specific to the subset of the Medicaid program that you'd be looking at. And similarly, Medicaid, is not part of the annual budget process, so the coverage and services are ongoing, but the staffing, the processing, call center processing, things like that are going to be slowed down due to furloughs and staffing shortages. And there could be some delays. To apply for Medicaid, there is a self-service portal that is listed there. You can Google it or you can call. There are local Medicaid offices that are open, and at least as when we updated this, the Healthy Louisiana and LHIP programs coverages were continuing, but the renewal packets might go out later than they ordinarily would. Turning then to Medicare, this is a federal health insurance program, which is separate, and it covers hospital care under Part A, medical services under Part B, and prescription drugs under Part D. Generally, it's for those who are age 65 and older, those who have a disability, or those with end-stage renal disease or ALS. And people of limited income could qualify for a Medicare savings program, which is when Medicaid pays for Medicare, and we'll talk about that in a moment. I'd like to highlight this because not everybody takes advantage of it, even though it may be an option for certain folks. So Medicare helps those who have limited income pay their Medicaid, their premiums. So those who are enrolled in A can be put on additional, can get additional coverages and have that premium paid for. And so Medicaid can be the one paying for Medicare. There's different ways to apply. Of course, there's an online portal. There's an online there's an application that can be downloaded, printed, and faxed in, or by phone or in person. And so if someone is eligible, that can be a way to kind of save some money each month by getting that additional benefit. And again, during the shutdown, this remains active, but processing through Social Security could take longer. Replacement cards and appeals, those are types of things that could be delayed. The website and the phone line are open, and Social Security can still process the applications. For the Medicare Savings Program, which is what helps with the Part B premiums, that's still open through Department of Health, but again, there could be delays. And just to kind of highlight, if folks are applying or have questions about their Medicaid, they'll go through the state for that. If they're working on something relative to Medicare, that's going to be going through their Social Security office, most likely. And so I put that information there. Finally, I'd like to talk briefly about the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP. This provides a monthly food benefit for low-income individuals and families so that they can buy groceries. Those who are eligible for the program must meet income and resource limits. They have to live in Louisiana and have citizenship or another status another status as eligible. And I would like to point out that there are work requirements now that are associated with the SNAP program. So if someone is considered an able-bodied adult without dependents, they are only going to be eligible to receive SNAP for, I believe it's up to 3 months, unless they are working or begin work or meet other exemptions. So one of the exemptions, for example, is or working would require 80 hours a month or about 20 hours a week, or to participate in a work or training program or combination. To be exempt, there's a list of exemptions, and that can include pregnancy, caring for dependents, experiencing homelessness, and things of that nature. So there are, of course, income and resource thresholds by family size. And to apply, that is now through the Louisiana Department of Health. It used to be DCFS, but it's since moved to Department of Health. And there is an online portal where you can apply, or by phone. The information for the paper application is there. And of course, documentation is needed for identity and residence, and also income and resources. Now, this has definitely been impacted by the shutdown. And again, I would just encourage, for the most up-to-date information, of course, consult news or the agency's website itself on Louisiana Department of Health. But when I updated this, Department of Health had committed to providing state-funded assistance for those receiving SNAP. And that was going to be kind of parsed out on a weekly basis, with elderly, disabled, and children being the first in line to receive those funds on their cards. Federally, that seems up in the air. But any unused benefits from October should remain available on the card and can be used as usual. Again, this is shifting, so just be aware that there are things in progress here. For those who are currently getting or applying for SNAP benefits, we always, consult the administrative requirements, complete everything the agency requests to avoid any delays once, SNAP is back. And if you are, you might still be getting notices from Department of Health, continue to review and respond to those so that there won't be any additional delay with paperwork. And from the Department of Health, they remind people to report household changes, complete the paperwork, and submit verification. Like we talked about, I mean, the news and the agencies are going to have the most current and up-to-date information on what's going on with the programs. These are just examples of some of the agencies and the news feeds that they have about what's going on. For Louisiana Department of Health, of course, check that. I wanted to additionally provide some information about food sources because this is a big change due to the shutdown. So these are some sources that we've collected. We do have blog posts that we update on our website, slls.org. So we try to keep that current with information that folks need to know regarding public benefits. But in addition, we collected these. So 211 can be used for information about food banks and local directory of what's going on. There are a couple of resources here. There are, and again, I would consult the news and check online for the most up-to-date information, but there are food pantry hours of operation and schedules of who can come when, beginning with last name, for example, at the Lower 9 Food Pantry. And there's also the Bethlehem Lutheran Church listed there. So there are community resources available. And then finally, so today we talked about what is SLLS. We are a nonprofit civil legal aid organization. We help those who are low income with really the most urgent civil legal needs that they have. Some of those include public benefits, but we do a host of other things. You can, if you or someone that you know is in need of legal services, they can apply online at slls.org. You can call us. That's our general number. Again, we do serve 22 parishes, and so we have a way to route everything so that we get back to everybody. You'll leave your name, phone number, your parish, and a short description of your legal issue. And then we do accept walk-ins. So if you come in, or if you're applying, just be prepared to bring your ID, your income information. If you have a court notice or pleading, notices that you've received from a public benefits agency, proof of your income, or anything else relevant to the legal issue that you're seeking help with. And then that can kind of expedite us being able to help you if we are in fact able to help you. So with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Emily and go from there. I appreciate everyone's time today.
Thank you so much, Megan. Okay, so it is now time for questions. Feel free to post any questions you have in the Q&A section if you're on Zoom or in the comment section if you're on Facebook. And while we wait for questions, I want to highlight some additional resources. Can you go to the next slide for me? Next slide, please.
All right, that's for our sister organization.
Yes. Oh, perfect. Yes, I'll highlight this for you. So this is ALSC. This is their website, the la-law.org. You can call them at that toll-free number. That will be their intake line, or you can walk into their office with the accompanying information, so your ID, your income, court notices, etc. And they service the 42 parishes, sort of in the western and northern portion of the state. Okay, and next slide. Yes, perfect, right here. So these are our additional resources. They may be helpful if you have a legal question that was not addressed during this presentation, or you need help getting assistance. This is the flyer for the LSBA's Find Legal Help page, where you can access a continuum of services. It includes our attorney directory, the Civil Legal Navigator, legal aid and pro bono organizations, the Modest Means Directory, and self-help services. I'd like to call special attention to the Louisiana Civil Legal Navigator. This is a great sort of diagnostic tool that helps you identify your legal issues and provides customized information, referrals to legal aid, and more. It is simple to use and will give you next steps specific to your issue and or your parish or location. You can also access Free Legal Answers, which is an online pro bono program that allows users to log in whenever and wherever they like and ask civil legal questions and have attorneys answer those questions through the site. It is private and acts almost like an email exchange between the user and the attorney, but please note there that users must meet certain income guidelines to use this program. Okay, here we go. We do have a question. Where can I go to see where can I go to see a list of requirements for Medicaid and apply?
Right. So I would go directly to the Louisiana Department of Health. They have everything laid out there. Let me go back to, I believe it's this site right here is the self-service portal. And I think it's pretty good about walking everyone through, what's required. And when you apply for Medicaid, you'll be giving, again, that basic information. And then the agency should run your information through all of the different programs, and they will follow up if they need additional information. So it's kind of like a back and forth. Just make sure that you're providing that information upon request. And again, of course, agencies make mistakes, and we just always recommend that you keep track of, what did you submit, when did you submit it, in case any questions arise with eligibility dates or anything like that.
Okay, wonderful. And we have a second question. After administrative processes have been exhausted over benefit disputes and fair hearings are officially denied, does SLS litigate?
So that's going to be a really case-specific, I think, evaluation. There's different agencies, there's different administrative processes, and so that's something that we take on a case-by-case basis.
Okay. That seems to be all the questions we have. I'll give it another couple seconds if anybody has another question. Okay, well, I don't see anything else being typed in. I don't see more questions popping up. So this concludes our Law Talks workshop for today. Please save the date for our next Law Talks, which will be January 21st at noon. It'll be on workers' compensation. Can you go ahead and go to the last slide for me? It just has our sort of upcoming list of days. Thank you so much, Megan. So as you can see, we have a few dates already set for 2026, but our next Law Talk will be January 21st at noon on workers' compensation. Thank you so much for joining us today, everyone, and thank you, Megan, for presenting this very important and useful information. We hope you have a wonderful afternoon, everyone. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.